The very first hint of gray light touched the window. Whiskers, our little ginger cat, began to stir. His internal clock was more reliable than any alarm. He stretched one leg, then another. His tiny pink nose twitched. The world outside was waking up. Birds were starting their morning songs. Whiskers heard them, his ears perked. The house was still very quiet. The big humans were asleep. Whiskers liked this quiet time. He could explore without any giant feet shuffling about. His green eyes, wide and bright, scanned the dim room. He listened carefully. Was that a mouse? No, just the old house settling. With a soft thump he landed on the floor. His paws made no sound on the wooden boards. He padded towards the door. He knew the routine. Soon the humans would wake. Soon there would be breakfast. But first, a quiet patrol. He rubbed against the leg of a chair. This was his kingdom. Small as it was, he was ready for it all. The first important task was breakfast. Whiskers knew this well. He trotted towards the kitchen. His tail was held high, a sign of happy expectation. He wound around the big human's ankles. A gentle reminder. "I'm here," his actions said. "And I'm rather hungry, you see." The sound of kibble rattling into his bowl was music. Pure music to a hungry cat's ears. He didn't wait for an invitation, he dived right in. The satisfying crunch, crunch, crunch filled the quiet kitchen. He ate with gusto, but neatly. Then a long drink of fresh water from his special bowl. It was cool and refreshing. Ah, that was better. A full belly made the world seem a brighter place for a little cat. Next on the agenda was grooming. This was serious business for Whiskers. A cat must always look his best. He settled down on the warm kitchen rug. First he licked his front paws, then he used them to wash his face. Over and over he went, behind the ears, under the chin. Every spot had to be perfect. His rough little tongue was a marvelous tool. It was like a tiny comb, keeping his ginger fur sleek and shining. With his morning duties complete, Whiskers was ready to face the adventures of the day. The house was Whiskers' entire world most days. And what a world it was, full of wonders. He began his morning patrol, starting with the living room. He sniffed at the bottom of the curtains. Had anything new passed by during the night? He checked under the big armchair, a favorite spot for lost buttons or stray crumbs. His whiskers twitched, sensing the air currents. He moved with a quiet confidence. This was his domain. He knew every nook and cranny, or so he thought. His curiosity was a powerful force. It led him into all sorts of places. A slightly open cupboard door was an invitation. He had to see what was inside, perhaps a forgotten bag of treats, or a new, interesting smell. He squeezed through the narrow gap. It was dark inside, but Whiskers didn't mind. His eyes adjusted quickly. He sniffed at tins and packets. Nothing too exciting today. But the thrill of exploration was reward enough for him. Sunbeams were a source of great fascination. They appeared in different places as the sun moved. Whiskers would find a bright patch on the carpet. He would stretch out in the warmth. It felt so good on his fur. Suddenly, a flash of red. It was the little toy mouse with the feathery tail. One of the big humans had tossed it. Whiskers' eyes locked onto it. Instantly he crouched low, his body tensed. The hunter inside him awoke. The world narrowed to just him and the mouse. He forgot everything else. This was serious business. The feathery tail twitched invitingly. He had to catch it. It was his solemn duty, his greatest joy. He was a hunter born and bred. He began the stalk. Slow, silent steps, one paw carefully placed in front of the other. His tail gave a little wiggle, just the tip, a sign of intense concentration. He was a miniature tiger in the living room jungle. The toy mouse lay still, unsuspecting. Or so it seemed. Whiskers gathered himself. Then the pounce, a lightning-fast leap. He landed right on the mouse, a flurry of paws. He batted it, he tossed it in the air. The big humans were a source of endless fascination for Whiskers. They were so tall, they made strange noises, they moved things around. He watched them from his favorite chair, or from under the table. He was studying their habits. He knew when they were happy, he knew when they were sad. He could read their moods surprisingly well. They were the providers of food and warmth, and most importantly, of affection. He understood the basics of their world. When a big human sat down, it was an opportunity. Whiskers would approach cautiously. Then, a gentle rub against a leg. A soft, rumbling purr would start in his chest. It was his way of saying hello. It was his way of asking for a pat. Usually, a hand would reach down, a gentle scratch behind the ears, or a long stroke down his back. Oh, that was bliss. He would arch his back into the touch. He would close his eyes in contentment. These moments were precious. Whiskers liked to be involved in human activities, or so it seemed. If a big human was reading a newspaper, Whiskers would sit on it, right in the middle. A tiny fly buzzed against the window pane. Whiskers, who had been dozing, was instantly alert. His head snapped up, his ears swiveled like tiny radar dishes. His eyes, now sharp and focused, tracked the fly's erratic movements. The hunter within him, never far from the surface, sprang to life. This was not a toy, this was real prey. Small, yes, but still a challenge, a test of his skills. His body tensed, ready for action. The call of the wild echoed in his small frame. He began the stalk. Each movement was precise, economical. He stayed low to the ground, his tail twitched, just the very tip, a sure sign of his intense concentration. He was a shadow, moving with incredible stealth. The fly was unaware of the danger. It continued to buzz, trapped between the glass and the room. Whiskers crept closer, inch by inch. He was a patient hunter. He would wait for the perfect moment. His muscles coiled, ready to spring. He was a marvel of natural design. Then, the leap. A sudden, explosive movement. His paws shot out. Sometimes he was successful. A quick, deft tap, and the fly was caught. Other times the fly would make a lucky escape. As the sun reached its highest point in the sky, the house grew warm. The morning's exciting adventures had tired Whiskers out. His bursts of energy were usually followed by a deep need for rest. It was time for his sacred afternoon siesta. This was not just a casual nap. It was an essential part of a cat's day, a time to recharge his batteries, to process all the sights and sounds, to prepare for the evening's activities. Sleep was serious business for a feline. Finding the perfect napping spot was crucial. Whiskers had several favorites. A sun-drenched cushion on the window seat was a prime location. The warmth seeped into his fur, making him feel cozy and content. Sometimes a quiet corner in a wardrobe nestled amongst soft clothes was ideal, or simply a patch of warm carpet where the sun streamed in. He would circle a few times, knead the spot with his paws, making it just right. Comfort was paramount for a good sleep. Once settled, he would curl up into a tight ball, or stretch out languidly depending on his mood. A soft sigh would escape him, his breathing would slow and deepen. The world outside would fade away. As the afternoon sun began to dip lower, Whiskers stirred from his deep slumber. He uncurled slowly like a waking flower. A long, satisfying stretch followed, first the front legs, then the back. A big yawn revealed his tiny, sharp teeth. The house was cooler now, the light was softer. He felt refreshed and ready for action. The evening often brought a new burst of energy, a final flurry of activity before the night settled in. He was ready for it. Sometimes this energy manifested as the evening zoomies. Suddenly, for no apparent reason, Whiskers would tear through the house. Up and down the hallway he would race, leaping over furniture, skidding around corners, his eyes wide with excitement. It was as if a hidden spring had been released. The big humans would watch and laugh. It was a delightful, if slightly mad, display of pure feline joy. He was a little whirlwind of ginger fur, a tiny comet streaking through the rooms. All this activity worked up an appetite. Whiskers knew that evening meant another mealtime. He would make his way to the kitchen. The big humans began their own winding down rituals. The bright lights in the house were dimmed. The noisy box in the living room, the television they called it, went quiet. A sense of calm and quiet descended upon the household. Whiskers felt this change. He knew bedtime was approaching. His own internal clock, so reliable at dawn, was now signaling the end of the day. He watched the humans, his eyes glowing softly in the dim light. He was a creature of the shadows now. He had several preferred sleeping spots for the night. Sometimes it was the soft blanket at the foot of the big human's bed. He liked the warmth and the reassuring presence of his giant friends. Other times he preferred his own cozy cat bed in a quiet corner. It was round and soft, a perfect nest. He would knead it for a moment, turning in a circle before finally settling down. He made himself comfortable, ready for a long night's rest. The house was his safe haven,